Hello, my name is Ashley, and I will be sharing my reaction to Eating Christmas in the Kalahari by Richard Borshay Lee. If you haven't heard it, a quick backstory is in the 1960s, he was living with this group of people in the Kalahari Desert, and at the end of it, he just wanted to study their lifestyle, like the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, because he's from Western places, and that's just different for him. So he wanted to study it, and so at the end, to share his gratitude, he goes and he gets them like this very large ox, and like he gives it to them like to have a feast at the very end, and like instead of the like super gratitude, like thankful reaction that he wanted to get, they were ridiculing him. And what he didn't realize until the end was that it was like to keep him humble because of the way he was raised and grew up. He was expecting this big grand reaction, but what he really got instead was that just to keep him humble. This really shows how powerful like our different worldviews are and how like behavior is interpreted, because he was looking at it through his culture, and like he brought this big grand gift, so obviously you should be praised for it. But if you look at it through their culture, like they're hunter-gatherers, so everyone needs to contribute to their community, and since he contributed and then he's expecting this big grand whatever, it was like a threat to them, because that's like throwing their culture off balance in that way. And so it was like very arrogant to them, but like since they have two completely different cultural views, like they have two different meanings. If we take another look at his reaction, we can see like a clear bias in him, because he comes from a society that's like very wealthy, and like they just like do gift giving, and like you give a gift, like you get like praise and gratitude in return. And since he's somewhere else, he thinks that like that should still apply, but like since he is in like a different country with a completely different like set of beliefs and worldviews, he doesn't see, due to his own worldview and belief, that it's like a different, he doesn't see their point of view and like their belief system, because he's so set in his own ways. Okay, and then this story just really shows us that our own cultural beliefs are not what's like normal or what's best, because what's normal in our like where we are is completely like different from what's normal somewhere else. And then in like our societies, in Western societies, all these like grand public acts of like giving and like things like that are like celebrated. Like if someone donates a lot, like we name something after them, like stuff like that. And then like if you do charity work, like it's posted on like a social media story or whatever, and just like that's just so normalized here. And then in their culture, it's more like you do these deeds and then you don't say anything. It's just like, it's just something you do, it's something everyone does, and then it's like you're humble, and it's just so completely different than what it is in Western societies. My example of a cultural norm that's like completely different than like in another country is tipping. Like here, it's like so normal, like you go to a restaurant, well, some people don't do it at coffee, but you go somewhere, and then depending on like their service, you'll tip them. And then you go to another country where like in like, oh, was it Japan, Korea, one of those two, like you tip someone and that's like offensive to their work. And then you go to like Europe or somewhere, and their employees are paying them enough for them to actually live off of, instead of an employee's livelihood being based off of how much the customers tip them. A good practice for cross-cultural communication is to get rid of the assumption that what you're intending to do is how the other person's going to interpret it. Like in America, if you just go up to somebody, ask to hold their baby, they're gonna think you're weird, they're gonna think you have ulterior motives, they're obviously not gonna hand you their baby. But if you go into a country in Africa and you go ask to hold someone's baby, they're just gonna hand you your baby freely. They just think you want to hold their baby. And in this essay, he brings this ox, and he thinks that is just big, expression of gratitude, like he just like wants to be like thankful for them, and then they're like maybe like he has bad intentions behind it. From my personal experience, with a not similar situation, but like a different like worldview situation, was I had my friend over. She's from England, and so I don't even know if this is normal there, but like this is like just a difference. So, she comes over, we cook dinner together, we watch a movie, and then after dinner, I get up, I'm doing the dishes, and then she's like, asking me, like, is there anything you want me to do? And then I was like, yeah, sure, like, can you do this? And she's like, oh, I was just offering, like, that wasn't, like, I wasn't actually gonna do anything. I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, I had 2 friends over a few nights later, and they came, and we had dinner, watched a movie, and then I go do dishes, and then my friend is like, oh, no, like, I can do the dishes, like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, of course. And so that's just, like, how, like, in my culture and her culture, like, there's just 2 different, like, ways of going on about things. And then in, what's his name, Richard Lee's culture and the people in the Kalahari, they just have 2 different ways that they view things. Okay, the conclusion, the most significant lesson that I learned is that our actions will never be neutral culturally. Like, imagine, like, you're walking past someone you know, and you wave, you walk by. In their culture, like, waving could be rude. The fact that you didn't stop by and say hi and, like, ask how they're doing could be rude. And so you just need to, like, every time there's, like, a misunderstanding culturally, you just, like, be humble, like, realize that they have different beliefs and they just see the world a different way than you do. Thanks for watching!